has been marred by the death and burial of General Paul Lokech, who got an honorary upon his burial. In this very same week, the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, launching the Afri-IP conference that is all about the copyright law. For the business, we get to see how traders have actually been affected by the pandemic, the aftermath of the lockdown, and possible striking. The Afghan first group did arrive in Uganda. We will be giving you an update on that regard. As well as the international scene, Afghanistan has been the actual news all week long, especially with the airstrikes that happened a few days ago. In the world of sports, we have gotten a medal from Team Uganda that has been participating in the Paralympics Tokyo 2020. This is UBC's weekly news roundup. Welcome.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Top news for this week has been President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni this week saying Uganda is ready to embrace the harmonization of ideas on what is supposed to be done as far as food security is concerned. The president was meeting the former Tanzanian president, His Excellency Mrisho Jakaya Kikwete, on increase of and transformation of agriculture in Africa ahead of the Africa Green Revolution Summit next month.
Officers often fail to identify the real originators of some creators, thereby according copyrights to those that innovate within the same creations. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's concern is that
of course, one of the constraints identified in agriculture has been lack of high-yielding seeds. So in the first program of Agra, the support has been to train seed breeders. And here in Uganda, 54 have been trained, 20 at PhD level and 34 at masters. And these are working with the National Agricultural Research Organization. And they have been quite productive. 59 varieties of seeds have been produced. And they have made a difference in terms of increasing productivity. The other thing for information is that we are now working on the next program, and we are now looking at the possibility of including livestock in the programs that AGRA is going to undertake in the next round.
This is a type of, apart from the actual support material, the money, but the harmonization of ideas, so that all these 54 countries, or in this case the 15, sort of agree on what needs to be done. That's very important. Even if you did nothing else, but you people were able to understand that, number one, seeds are very important. Number two, because for us we have that list of the what we call bottlenecks.
Yes.
We have that list. it is the seeds, it is the agro practices, to know how to do things properly. It is the, for us, we add on irrigation.
Yes.
Because when you don't have it, it's also a bottleneck.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has challenged African intellectual property ministers and officers to ensure streamlined and fair copyright, related rights and patent registration system if creators are to benefit from their works profitably. He made the remarks at the conference for the adoption of the draft protocol on voluntary registration of copyrights and related rights in Africa.
African intellectual property officers often fail to identify the real originators of some creators, thereby according copyright to those that innovate within the same creations. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's concern is that at what point is one eligible to register a copyright or patent of that creation?
Some of these products are indigenous, like the song they said I'm the one who composed it. No, I didn't compose it. We used to sing it as children. We used to recite those poems as children, play rhythms. But these people in Kampala here, drunk with intoxicated with foreign ideas, they had never heard of those indigenous things. So I brought it up. Because I went to a conference that they are rapping. I said, what is rapping? But we have got our own indigenous rapping. So I said, may I show you how to rap in the indigenous way? They said, oh yes. Then I recited it for them. They were playing it when I came. But now the question is, who takes the copyright?
Despite having a competitive advantage in Africa, copyright is yet to realize its full potential. It is through this challenge that ARIPO member states aim to promote their creators through a robust network of policies and monitoring mechanisms.
In this case, Your Excellency, Uganda has a national IP policy, and the policy would stipulate who owns what depending on the contracts the professors and the scientists and the universities have. There are levels of protection. The community, those which are communally owned, those which are individual, it depends on the creativity you bring to the process.
At this conference, ministers are expected to sign the protocol on voluntary registration of copyright as a show of acceptance and adoption, which will come into force 3 months after 5 states have deposited their instruments and ratifications.
Your Excellency, in our midst we have ministers and heads of intellectual property offices from 20 member states of ARIPO, that is the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, who have traveled here from the various capitals to adopt a protocol that will facilitate the registration of copyrights in Africa. Your Excellency, the event has been going on for a couple of days, started sometime last week, and the ministers are here to seal it off.
The number of creators in Africa grows by the day, meaning ARIPO is faced with an uphill task of catching up to regulate a rapidly growing and diverse phenomena in the scopes of science, authorship, ICT, creative arts, among others. Wadulo Mark Arnold, UBC News in Munyonyo.
In this very same week, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni promoted fallen Deputy Inspector General of Police Paul Lokech from Major General to Lieutenant General. This was during the burial ceremony of the fallen general in Paida district, where there were thousands of mourners for the send-off.
The fallen Deputy Inspector General of Police, Paul Lokech, who died on Saturday last week, has been buried at Lubele village in Paida district, Acholi sub-region. He was buried with a 15-gun salute. During the prayers, President Museveni promoted Lokech from Major General to Lieutenant General due to his training and contributions.
I hereby, using the military, the authority given to me as president by Articles 98 and 99 of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda, promote Major General Paul Lokech posthumously to the rank of Lieutenant General. I salute you, Ekonagai.
Museveni's speech was read to the mourners by the Minister for Internal Affairs, Major General Kahinda Otafire. The Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya, was the chief mourner. He pledged to organize a special sitting to honor Lokech.
We'll find occasion in the course of the next 2 weeks to have the tribute motion debated, honoring Lieutenant General Paul Lokech. And in that debate, we'll talk about a lot of things. And in that debate, I want all.
The Chief Justice Alfonso Winidolo urged the government to roll out the new proposal of Parish model-based service delivery system in Acholi to be at village level, since they have been left behind due to over 25 years of Coney War.
15 years since 2006, about June, when the guns went silent. What have you as an Acholi, done to enable yourself recover that lost glory?
His request was after Special Presidential Advisor on Security General Salim Saleh urged the people of Acholi to support the parish-based service delivery.
This parish model has been on the tables of government for the last 15 years. It was first discussed in May 2006. Now this is August 2021. And people are still confused about what it means. So, I'm requesting that those who are barring this reformer also help me to keep this situation alive of the parish model.
Other notable dignitaries at Lokech's burial included the former president for Somalia, Sheikh Sharif Ahmed Sharif, UPDF Chief of Defense Forces Wilson Mbadi, representative of the IGP Jackson Kabasumba, ministers, members of parliament, and thousands of people of Acholi. They all praised Lokech for humility and hard work. Philip Aguta, UBC News in Pade.
Senior military officer Major General Paul Lokech, now deceased, will be remembered for his tough talk against terrorism. 8 months in office as Deputy IGP, Lokech successfully led an operation to crack down the assassins who shot at General Katumba Wamala's vehicle, killing his daughter and driver instantly. His last tough appearance before media was when security managed to recover guns used to kill prominent people in Uganda. Details follow.
He was a gallant soldier, an expert in his field with undoubted high level of expertise to deal with terrorists.
Any Al-Shabaab who tries to attack us must die. There is no mediation from that.
Atusta General Paul Lokech, now the deceased Deputy Inspector General of Police, was appointed by the head of state, who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, General Eulogy Museveni, on the 16th December 2020 to ascend to the second highest office in Uganda Police Force. The calm, yet tough and articulate general ejected the Al-Shabaab militants from Somalia when he was Uganda's AMISOM contingent commander in 2011 and 2012. He captured key places of the Red Mosque in Somalia's capital Mogadishu and got himself the nickname of the Lion of Mogadishu that features on his profile. In the year 2012, puzzling incidents of gunning down Muslim clerics ensued till 2015. The media was awash with terrifying news of assassinations. 12 Muslim clerics were underground, dead. The killings were linked to ADF. The Allied Democratic Force was not a new force to Lokech. He was part of Operation Safe Haven, where UPDF detrimentally went aggressive on rebels of the Allied Democratic Front. Damir Mukuru was the commander of the rebel group and is now behind bars. Mukuru was arrested under General Kale Kaihura's tenure.
This achievement is a big success for the people of Uganda. This is our Osama bin Laden. It's as historic and as significant as that.
At the beginning of his tenure, Isaac Senyange, known as Zebra Mando, was killed in cold blood at his residence in Kawempe on 30th December 2020. The head of state would later inform Ugandans that Zebra was slated to meet him before his murder.
They had even organized for COVID tests. We were supposed to come and see me with other people. Then we had this unfortunate incident.
This became the first high-profile killing under Lokech's tenure as Deputy IGP. Nonetheless, 6 months later, terrifying news shocked many as General Katumba Wamala was shot at, killing his daughter and driver. Lokech made an appearance at the crime scene. 3 weeks later, the two-star general made several appearances on media platforms, updating the nation about the matter.
This finding tells us that this is an ADF cell. We arrested them from different areas. Others we arrested from Kikaya. Others we arrested them from Kawanda. Others we arrested them from Nansana. Others we arrested them from Katoke. And when he came to Oryx around here is when he handed over the gun. This Mukwas, even on his passport, went to Tanzania, Kenya, and Mozambique. This is one of the guns which was used. Yeah, so you can then see that these were the guns, even in my footage, these were the guns that Master and Kanebe were holding. At last, we have got the killer guns. We are still looking for Sheikh Obaida, whom we think is the main cell leader within the region now, in Uganda.
Some suspects were killed, others arrested.
We have 4 suspects in our cells and 2 are dead.
Only under this experienced gallant officer who confidently spoke with authority about terrorism.
In other situations, which we haven't yet seen here, when you're going to handle these people, you need also to be very, very careful. Others even blow themselves off. I have been in those situations myself, so there is nothing new you're going to tell me. When I killed Fazul in Somalia, I hope you knew about this. UPDF killed Fazul. Fazul was the main terrorist leader of East Africa who blew up the American embassy in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam. They all had wrapped themselves with bombs. Immediately we shot Fazul, the rest triggered the explosives. So we are always very, very sensitive when we are dealing with this type of operations.
Lokech succumbed to a blood clot that had formed in one of his big blood vessels after his lower right leg was injured. He was pronounced dead on Saturday 21st August 2021 at 10 a.m. in Kira Town Council. Ivan Kahwa, UBC.
Well, the General's leadership to this country will dearly be missed. May his soul rest in peace, the Lion of Mogadishu. Still continuing in the same story, security forces this week arrested an unidentified man who was suspected to be assembling bomb pieces in a guest house in Paita town as the body of Major General Paul Lokech was being eulogized. The man was arrested at Atimikika guest house, which is located on plot 6 and 8 of Kanugura Road, less than 2 kilometers from the burial ground. He was found with gadgets including half a basin of bicycle ball bearings, unidentified liquid and powder. The security forces, including the Uganda Police Forces, UPDF and CMI, have conned off the guest house, with the bomb experts arriving to ascertain the security threat in this particular area ahead of the burial for the safety of the mourners. Here are the details.
We are here at Timikisha or guest house, whereby our team of detectives managed to apprehend one person in one of the rooms in the hotel, according to our intelligence, is suspected to be involved in some criminal activities, and that's why I've reserved my comments regarding anything surrounding his arrest for now, since it is too premature. The experts are still doing analysis of the scene, which we cannot expound much on for now, but let them do their work until other technical persons give us the facts surrounding this matter for sure. Yes, but at least I can confirm we have one suspect picked him in the hotel, whom we believe he was for a wrong cause. He suspected criminal activities, actually, which really we need to leave it to our detectives and experts to expound on it, and we shall get further updates in the course of investigation.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni this week paid a tribute to the fallen former commander of the UPDF Center for Doctrine Development, retired Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa. The CDF General Wilson Mbasu Mbadi delivered the condolence message on behalf of the President at General Pecos Kutesa's home in Kabula in Leantonde district.
Addressing mourners at the fallen General Pecos Kutesa's burial in Kabura in Liantonde district, Chief of Defense Forces General Wilson Mbadi said the foreign comrade will be remembered for Kachiri detachment attack on the 6th of April 1981.
We attacked Kakiri UNLA detachment on the 6th of April 1981 as the assault from the east of Kampala on Hoima Road was going on. Standing near one of the shops, I saw Pecos crawling in the typical military way to capture the heavy machine gun. The UNLA had fled and left alone.
He said Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa also took part in the battles of Masindi on 20th of February 1984 and Kabamba on the 1st of January 1985.
Also took part in the Battle of Masindi on the 20th of February 1984 and Kabamba on the 1st January 1985, as well as other battles of encounter like the one of Mataba Swamp near Chanjinja.
Minister for Defense and Veterans Affairs Vincent Bamulanga Chisempija and the State Minister for Internal Affairs General David Muhoozi commended the foreign soldier for his useful contribution in the struggle.
Whenever our ways met or crossed, I found a thing or two planned from him. I must testify that I will always miss and remember this gallant son of our soil, the calm military general, and his bravery and unwavering commitment to the NRM ideology and cause.
A huge legacy. The lesson we take from him, from his life, is to live valuable lives to write our memoirs, not just in print, but also live a worthy life to write home about, so that we earn our names a place.
Former Army Commander General Mugisha Muntu and General Eric Tumwine noted that the late Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa played a big role in the NRA revolution.
Katonda okulaba nti waliko abamu ababeera n'ebitiibwa ebyawagulu naye ne basigala nga bali wansi nga bantu balina obukakkamu kuba nga bali mu bantu aba bulijjo.
Pecos has died a satisfied man for leaving Uganda, which we sang and wished and worked and sacrificed for when we sang Kibonge chanini vijana wanahamia msituni, Kibonge chanini vijana wanahamia msituni, walienda huko msituni. Kupigania wananchi.
Haruna Mtesasira reporting in Lyantonde for UBC Tonight.
Police and other security forces have this week been deployed heavily in Masaka following continued murders of residents. The head of security in Masaka, who is also the area RDC, Fred Bamwine, says that so far 38 suspected gang members have already been nabbed and the hunt is still on. Bamwine says they have provided free toll lines in every sub-county for timely calls to security, and at least 250 leaders have also been mobilized to coordinate the hunt for the criminals and mobilize residents in attacks. The main areas are Kabonero area. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has given 10 million shillings to each person that has lost a family member. The area RDC Fred Bamwine is advising communities in Masaka to report any suspicions, make an alarm in case of any attack, and advise the population to be cooperative. Bamwine says they have capacity to respond in less than 10 minutes in case of an alarm. Here are the details.
Suspected machete welding ruffians have hacked 2 people in Masaka sub-region. Joyce Nantale, 64-year-old, and her granddaughter Barbara, aged 6 years, were residents of Bwasa village, Kasana Parish, Chigo sub-county in Lwengo district. They died on arrival at Masaka Regional Referral Hospital, where they had been rushed for treatment. The vice chairperson of Bwasa village, Francis Kagwa, says they rushed to the old woman's house after hearing an alarm, but found the victims already unconscious.
Tambula butambuzi makubo. Neve enkoni, netolola bweti, nekwate kaganda, netolola. Nabaduyi benyini, bagabo. Tetufunye buyambi bwonna. Ntutere tukuumibwa. Nze kyembadde nsaba. Obaka aveewo olw'ensonga batugamba ssaawa emu tudde mu nju ne mu nju kali mwe batusanga.
Ebintu bino bizibu okutegeera kuba abantu abakola ebintu bino bali tekiniko nnyo. Ebintu bye bakola biraga nti bya kikugu, bisukka ku kutegeera kw'abantu ate abalumbibwa. Naate era nga tusaba poliisi ne gavumenti, okusingira ddala gavumenti tugiteeka ku nninga. Ekole mangu okunoonyereza kuba bwe tutunuulira mu mbalirira ssente ezisinga zigenda ku byakwerinda. Naye bwe baba balemereddwa okuba nga bakuuma abantu n'ebintu byabwe.
Meanwhile, police rescued a 68-year-old Joweria Nachirija in Chimanya Kabonero Division, Masaka City, after suspected assailants raided her home. The chairman, Chimanya Kabonero Division, Ronald Katerega, says the doors and windows of his house were smashed a few minutes after 8 p.m. by the suspected criminals.
Tusaba government ya Uganda eveewo wakati bana abali kutema abantu batendeke, si bantu ba bulijjo. Tebalina na kigendera lwaki batema abantu, kwati balina kibatwala. Katusaba government eveeyo ku nsonga eyo.
Kabizze wako bante gye bakyankalanya ne kabakaba kasitovayo era ebyo babituganye bw'oba owulidde embizzi ekaba oba nte gumira mu nju basambe luggi
oleno era mu budde obwa majambiya
twafuba okulaba nti tukwatagana ne gavumenti n'ebitongole ebikuuma ddembe ne tutaasa abantu baffe mu ngeri eyali esoboka. Naye ku mulundi guno tusaba gavumenti kwatagane n'abatuuze, poliisi, amagye n'ebirala byonna ebiri ku mulimu gw'okukuuma abantu bikwatagane n'abatuuze mu kulwanyisa ettemu lino.
Police under the command of ASP Godfrey Mwesije fired live bullets after the families within the same vicinity raised alarm, forcing the unidentified assailants to flee.
Nsaba batuuze okuguma nti waliwo embeera ebeerawo olubeerera. Bagamba mbu ennaku z'omubbi zibeera ozimeka ana. So ekyensuubiza batuuze embeera eno ejja kuvaawo lwansonga.
On Friday, security said 38 people had been arrested to help in investigations. As of this Saturday evening, 23 people had been murdered in a similar manner by the suspected assailants.
Uganda this week received 51 Afghanistan evacuees fleeing the Taliban takeover in their country. According to a statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the evacuees include men, women and children who underwent the necessary security screening as well as the mandatory COVID-19 testing. The refugees were received by the ambassador to Uganda, Natalie Brown, and the U.S. mission also issued a statement to the effect expressing appreciation for Uganda to its hospitality.
Uganda has welcomed the first batch of Afghanistan evacuees into the country. These are part of the 2,000 the country agreed to take in at the request of the United States of America government. The 51 evacuees arrived aboard a privately chartered flight that touched down a few minutes past 7 a.m. at Entebbe International Airport. Media access to the airport was restricted, and the only recordings we managed to get were those of a heavily guarded snaking convoy of the evacuees from the airport heading to Imperial Resort Beach Hotel. The Foreign Affairs Ministry later issued a statement indicating that the arrival of the evacuees follows a request from the U.S. government and acceptance by the government of Uganda to temporarily host at-risk Afghan nationals and other nationals who are in transit to the United States and other destinations.
The decision to host them is informed and consistent with Uganda's policy of receiving refugees and persons in distress, as well as playing our responsible role as a member of the international community on matters of international concern. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda and United States of America enjoy long-standing cordial bilateral ties, which are historic in nature, and we continue to pursue common interests for mutual benefit of both countries.
However, the statement also notes that some Ugandans caught up in the crisis in Kabul were supposed to travel on today's flight, but this wasn't possible due to challenges of accessing the airport. Fresh arrangements are being made to safely evacuate them.
At this current time, the non-Ugandans in Afghanistan are only 2. We are making every effort to look out for any other Ugandans and appeal to honorable members of this August House and the general public who may have information on the whereabouts of any Ugandan to share it with the ministry.
We caught up with the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Wariomosi, who confirmed the developments and also clarified on the evacuees' stay in Uganda.
We accepted as a government to host our brothers and sisters from Afghanistan, but they will be in transit to the US. And therefore, I call upon Ugandans to receive them warmly, like the way we always receive our brothers and sisters who run away from their countries which are under war or where there is insecurity.
The crisis in Afghanistan follows the collapse of the 20-year-old so-called war on terror in the country on the 15th of August 2021 as the Taliban gunmen entered the capital Kabul and subsequently overthrowing the government of President Ashraf Ghani, who fled the country. The deadline for withdrawal of foreign forces in Afghanistan was set for the 31st of August 2021. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
The teachers across the country this week began a vaccination exercise against coronavirus. The teachers are optimistic that after this exercise, the government would reconsider reopening of the schools. Here are the details.
The vaccination exercise against COVID-19 for teachers has entered the second day, with teachers flooding designated centers for inoculation by government in huge numbers.
Bernard, I'm a teacher at Eminent National Primary School. I have come here to get my first jab, and the exercise is going on well, and I encourage the government to bring in more vaccines so that we get vaccinated as teachers, so that we go back to our jobs as teachers.
My name is Kabenge Henry. A teacher from Rubiri High School. So far the government have given us the first dose of this vaccine, Sinovac. The exercise have been good, and sincerely the people have been working on it have been so cooperative, have been so good.
The Chief of Defense Forces, General Wilson Mbadi, this week tasked Somalia-bound UPDF contingent to be good ambassadors while conducting their peace mission in Somalia. The CDF was flagging off Battle Group 33 heading to Somalia at an event held at Singo Military School, Nakaseke District.
After 9 months of vigorous training at Singo Military School in Nakaseke District, UPDF's Battle Group 33 is Somalia bound.
Kukua kwamba ndio mimi nakuja kuflag nyinyi off ili muweze kwenda kufanya kazi. Asante sana.
The contingent comprises 1,846 men and women who have acquired skills in humanitarian convoy escort, counter-offensive, civil military cooperation, among others.
Kuja kuzungumzia na nyinyi kuhusu kusonga wapi? Tusonge mpaka Somalia. Hilo leo kifuzeni siasa nzuri.
The Chief of Defense Forces, General Wilson Mbadi, however, challenges the contingent to raise the army and country's flag high through good conduct and professionalism.
Adui akija, tupo tayari. Adui akija, sisi tupo tayari. So, kwa hivyo, munapokwenda kule, munafaa kukuwa maambasada wazuri, muwe wabalozi wazuri kila muti nyinyi hapa. Maana yake hiyo sehemu ambayo tumeenda ni sehemu moja ambayo tumeemploy maambassadors wengi kwa ukweli. Kila nchi inafaa kuwa na ambassador hii, lakini wewe ona wenye tunatuma kwa nchi moja sasa sahi.
But he also warned soldiers about connivance and sabotaging mission objectives.
Whether you are doing something which is legally correct, whether you are doing something which is morally. Sio unafaa kujiuliza hata wenzangu watafikiria nini nikifanya hii. Kuuza risasi. Walio rogo hawawezi kukosa hapa. Wengine wako hapa watauza na shababu risasi hapa. Wako kwa sababu tuliwahi kukamata wengine. Sijui inakuwa haja ya nini, ya pesa gani hiyo ya kuenda kuuza risasi. Ile risasi ikuje kupige wewe. Sisi nimekupatia risasi ndio hii kuja piga mimi. Wewe si azimu. Wako wewe kesi tapatikana hapa.
Major Bral Katamba is the contingent spokesperson in Somalia.
The training has been good. We are sure that the training we received is good enough to enable us perform and execute the task that is ahead of us. We've been fortunate that we've had other senior army officers who've been in Somalia. They've come here, they've interacted with us, they have told us the situation in Somalia, so we are ready for the task.
This was at an event held at Singo Military School in Nakaseke district.
So it's worth noting that this time, though we have our training partners, but 95% of the training was handled by the UPDF instructors.
The contingent is flying to Somalia mid next month in a phased manner. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Plastics waste takes hundreds of years to biodegrade, from 20 years to 500 years, depending on the resistant nature of chemicals used in making them. The biodegradation of plastics comes a long way with physical and chemical effects, including entanglement of marine life and pollution of soils.
Waste takes between 20 to 500 years to decompose because of the resistant nature of chemicals used in their manufacture. The process of decay of plastics is associated with the destruction of not only soil components, but also messing up of marine life and change of the ozone layer. The main concern of ecologists and other stakeholders is the huge tons of plastics disposed of in non-environmentally friendly ways, resulting into destruction of Mother Nature. At Kutesa landfill, Kampala's largest central waste dumping site, where waste is aimlessly dumped, plastic waste have low chances of decomposition. The wastes heaped in a mountain-like feature can visibly be seen steaming like chemicals, evaporating directly to the atmosphere. In the same heap are tons of non-recyclable plastics, which are also dangerous to the environment.
Target is to have 30% of all the waste which is generated in our city to be recycled or put to use again by the year 2025.
About 93% of plastics in Uganda are non-recyclable because the available technology cannot ably handle it. Out of the 93%, over 50% accounts for imported plastics.
This is cotton bag. It's not cotton, it's plastic. They brought it in the supermarkets to remove the kavira. When they removed the kavira, they were bringing this. Then, it's not recyclable.
Addressing the issue of plastics is not limited to implementation of available laws, but also creation of awareness campaigns on proper disposal of plastics and behavioral change.
So we need to think about manuring, the craft and the other things, recycling, so that we can reduce on the dumping issues.
This should also be accompanied by adoption of advanced technologies that can recycle the currently non-recyclable 93%.
I want to bring this technology tomorrow. I must make sure that the law is there for recycling, and there is rebate, and there is support, and there is...
The non-recyclable plastics include bioplastics, composite plastics, plastic-coated wrapping paper, and polycarbonate, although the well-known non-recyclable plastics include cling film and blister packaging.
This is plastic. It's a raw material of kavera. Its grade of raw material is the same as kavera. But someone says, kano kapamba, tukateke msmo. That was a big lie.
Accordingly, several organizations from waste management providers to government have a zero waste landfill policy, reinforcing the use of the alternative eco-friendly disposal methods. Susan Nalwoga reporting for UBC TV.
Cabinet in this very same week resolved to increase the salaries of scientists, a move that will see teachers earning up to 4 million shillings and scientists as well as doctors earning up to 5 million shillings. Here are the details.
Government employees will have their salaries increased to enable them perform their duties as required, according to the Minister of ICT National Guidance, Dr. Chris Bariomonsi. The move, endorsed by Cabinet, will be implemented starting with scientists like teachers and doctors.
Scientists, health professionals, science teachers, science tutors, instructors, lecturers, and scientists in public universities. So all those scientists who work for government, the proposal was to increase their pay so that we take this as a strategic intervention in order to build a knowledge-based economy. And maybe to expound on this, that our intention as government is to raise the pay of all the public servants. But we are going to start with scientists.
Addressing journalists at Uganda Media Center, Minister Baryomunsi said government employees, like teachers and doctors, have always part-timed with private schools to make ends meet. However, with the new salary enhancement for scientists, government is optimistic that the vice of part-timing will be a story of the past.
The entry level for a graduate into the civil service, we should pay such an officer 4 million shillings, and for a medical doctor who is entering into a service, 5 million shillings, and then correspondingly you pay the other ranks accordingly.
The move will also see more doctors recruited to lower health facilities up to Health Center 3.
So the current structure only says doctors can be employed down at Health Center 4, which is a county level health facility. But now we are going to employ them even in Health Center 3s, so that one, we ensure that our doctors are employed, but two, the people have access to medical doctors, so that we can improve on the doctor-patient ratio, which is recommended by WHO.
The resolution is expected to start next financial year. Minister Baryomunsi was flanked by junior ministers, that of ICT Joyce Nabosa Sebugwawo and Godfrey Baluku Kabyanga. For national guidance, President Museveni has always advocated for a better pay to scientists like teachers and medical practitioners, saying it's the only way to develop Uganda using a science-led development strategy. In a related development, Uganda is bidding to host the East African Monetary Institute, which will transition into the East African Monetary Bank. Bernard Higa, UBC News.
A look into the e-learning system as well as the Uganda Airlines are going to be our focal points when we return for the Business Weekly Roundup.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175*94# to activate a 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy a 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175*94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
My home, I smile when I think of you, Uganda. My home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda. My home, oh my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know on my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey, mama.
My Uganda. My Uganda. My Uganda. My Uganda. Nikukunda. My Uganda. Amari alemira. My Uganda.
Nyoe nikugonza.
My Uganda.
Amina ngojo. Amina ngojo.
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
Welcome back. It's still UBC's weekly roundup of the news. Now into our business sector, we get to look at education experts wanting to reduce internet data prices to make it more accessible and user-friendly. They say a reduction on the pricing of data will enable them teach properly using Zoom and other internet platforms. This was during an interview with the director for Sai Pali Institute of Technology and Management. Here are the details.
The lower quartile, sometimes it's called the...
Teaching via Zoom on a daily basis is an expensive affair and requires reasonably priced internet services. In Uganda, like the rest of the world, many people have resorted to use of internet since schools are closed as a prevention measure against COVID-19 infection.
About online learning or e-learning, it is actually a very good platform. To me, I have found that it is a very good platform that I think each and every school and then teachers should ever think of adopting.
It is this coronavirus situation that has endeared many institutions like Sai Pali Institute of Technology and Management to develop innovations like integrated school management system for administration work online, virtual classes and online exams. This e-learning system is cheaper and easily adaptable, which will help education sector during and after COVID-19 pandemic because it's a new way of digitalizing the education.
It helps the schools to manage administrative work digitally, right from admission up to report generating. Then we have also with it e-learning system where the students they can attend the online classes, they can attend the virtual classes where they can see their teacher virtually.
However, the director, Sai Pali Institute of Technology and Management, Amit Silvastava, says this can only work well if government reduces the pricing rates of data for internet.
Looking at the situation, they should also come with a solution where internet cost can be minimized, though we have tied up with one of the latest company which has come in Uganda, that is like a mobile, which offers a very cheap data, especially it is helping the students who are attending online classes, but still lots needs to be done.
Most parents cannot afford data for their students because if you're to access our system or to join online classes or to join any online platform, you need to be having data as a necessity. So that's the major challenge, but we thank our parents that they have been there for the students.
Peter Tulinya, a mathematics teacher at Sai Pali who teaches students online, says he has benefited a lot through teaching online and advised other teachers to do the same.
Remember that we are moving forward. The world is getting digitalized and teachers have to learn some of these computer skills in order to be a competent teacher of all seasons. You do not have to be a teacher only when certain seasons are favorable. Now, like right now, it is really, really very necessary.
For creating job, you need to have skills. And that's where you have to think that how I can get the skill in field of IT and technology.
Story compiled by Nelson Akatuhurira for UBC News.
Uganda Airlines has this week received an updated air operator certificate, which includes the use of the Airbus A330-800 aircraft. The airline received the inclusion certificate from the regulator, Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, after proving beyond reasonable doubt that they will have the systems in place to facilitate smooth operation of this particular aircraft. Here are the details.
Uganda Airlines is celebrating 2 years of commercial operations. The airline now operates flights to 10 destinations on the African continent using a fleet of 4 Sierra J900 jetliners from Bombardier. With the clearance of the recently acquired A330-800 neo aircraft to fly long haul by the regulator Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, more routes are set to be added onto their chart. During an exclusive interview with UBC TV, Uganda Airlines acting CEO Jennifer Wamturaki revealed that most of their plans as stipulated in the business plan have been greatly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Just when we were really going up, peaking, we had launched about 7 routes, I think, and the numbers were coming in. People were beginning to understand our product, our routes, our schedules. Then, boom, COVID. And it was global, so we had to literally shut down, airports shut down and all. So it was very brutal. So the coming back was very slow because we could not come back full throttle. On some of the routes, we'd grown the schedules to 3 times a day on Juba, Nairobi. We had introduced holiday destinations, Zanzibar, Mombasa. So a lot of decisions had to be made to combine some of the routes, to make it not profitable as such, but to make it operational in a sense that you don't lose much more.
She adds that they are now focusing on repositioning themselves to compete favorably in the new normal.
We now have to look at our costs. There's one thing to make money and stay afloat, but there's another thing to manage your costs. Because we're in the startup process, it's very easy for you to say, this is part of startup. But now we are going into, let's watch our costs. What can we renegotiate? What contracts can we look at and go back and renegotiate them so that we have an optimum kind of operational rate or something?
Uganda Airlines recently received an inclusion certificate of the Airbus on the existing air operator certificate. This will now herald the rolling out of long-haul operations.
So we are not just waiting that, okay, let's wait for the red list. There are things we are doing in the background to make sure that when that red list is opened, we will be ready to go. So for now, our tentative date for Dubai is October the 3rd. Depending on how soon, usually for selling and marketing, you need at least 2 to 3 months. And by the way, for all these long-haul flights, we should have started selling and advertising a year ago. It's that those markets are very advanced. So chances are we'll come back with a new date, especially for London, China, Mumbai. We'll probably come with dates that are a little bit far, so that it can give us a chance not to fly the Airbus in there empty, but to have people. Yeah.
To further strengthen the airline's revenue streams, the national carrier also has plans of prioritizing the handling services. To mark 2 years, the airline staff, including the pilots, cabin crew and others, took time off to engage in corporate social responsibility activities at the Uganda Wildlife Education Center in Entebbe. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
Airtel Uganda has the best and most affordable rates when it comes to withdrawing and sending money. Withdraw money for as low as 330 shillings up to a maximum of 12,500 shillings. Sending money is just as affordable as ever. Absolutely unbeatable. Use Airtel Money on the most affordable network with the largest network of Airtel Money branches in Uganda. Dial *185# to get started. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
And on to our sports segment, where we get to look at what's been taking place in the world of sports for the entire week. Uganda's David Emong this week won a bronze medal in men's 1,500 meters race in the T46 sport class, running under 3:53.51 in the ongoing Paralympic Games in Tokyo. Other para-athletes who are yet to compete were Rita Asimwe for badminton, para-swimmer Husna Kukundakwe, who is in class S8, and also competing in the 100-meter freestyle. Athlete Peace Oroma, also in class T13, running 400 kilometers and 800 kilometers respectively. Back in 2017, Paralympic athlete David Emong competed under the T46 category, winning gold at the World Paralympics that climaxed in London. Emong made history after outclassing Algeria's Samir Nonoura, who was defending the championship then. Well, that is all that we've had for you at UBC's weekly news roundup. Now, as the new week is coming forth, it comes forth with a new month, the 9th month of 2021, which is known as September. So make it a September to remember. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga, and thank you so much for watching UBC. On editorial, it's been Habimana, and we also do have Jimmy. Thank you so much, guys, for all the work that you have put in. Until next week, have yourselves a wonderful new week.